Very iconically classic Louis Vuitton. Not my favourite Louis Vuitton bag, if I'm honest. That's a huge amount of money for a very small bag. It's past its height of popularity. I personally like that. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today let's take a look at the iconic Louis Vuitton monogram bags. What I think of them, which ones I love, which ones I'm not so sure about, and in today's crazy prices for these luxury bags, which ones of these iconic Louis Vuitton monogram bags do I actually think are still buying at today's price increases? Because even as a self-confessed Louis Vuitton monogram lover, some of the prices of these bags have gone absolutely through the roof with recent price increases. So if we're going to be spending our hard-earned money on them, let's take a moment to take a look at these iconic bags and think about which ones are still worth buying even at today's prices. But before we get into those, I would like to share with you what I am wearing today, and I am delighted to introduce to you the brand that is kindly sponsoring this section of today's video, and it is a company called S.Deer, S.Deer Clothing, and I am wearing pieces from them today, and I'm going to show you the other pieces that I have ordered. I have tried them on and I'm going to share them with you. These are a brand of clothing that are very, very affordable, but I have to tell you that I was very genuinely surprised by the quality of the products, by the quality of the items whenever they arrived. First piece I'm going to show you, well, I better start with actually what I'm wearing. This is one of their hoodies and this is very, very affordable. But what I really like about this is there is a design feature to this that just makes it that little bit different and that little bit extra. I'm going to stand up and show you my belly, but on this part of this jumper, there is a band that goes around here and goes around my back. That makes this sit perfectly. There is no hanging down, there is no straight hoodie, it sits perfectly. And then it gives us this dip at the back that I just love. I have tried it on with one of the coats and it is this long grey herringbone type wool, and I'll show you the fabric of that up close. I have sized up. Their sizing is quite small, so if you're checking out any of these pieces, and I will link them all in the description box for you down below. I will also have a discount code, yay, which I will link in the description box down below as well. I have this in a size up that will allow me to wear this over a suit jacket and over one of my suits for work. So I do think that this particular coat will work just as well dressily as it will casually, but I really like wearing dressy coats over casual outfits. It's just a vibe, I think. Something that I do like to wear. I think this also would be beautiful over a crisp white plain t-shirt, jeans, trainers. I think that's a look all by itself, and this one I am really, really happy with, and I know I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. But let me show you the piece that when I saw this on the website, had to have it. Now this is very me. I love it. This is giving me Cassie Thorpe vibes, and that's never a bad thing. This is a cropped jacket. It's like a shell jacket. It reminds me of something from the 80s and I freaking love it. It has these pockets here that you can put your hand in and hide. You can also pull the band in around the bottom so you can have this sitting open quite wide, or you can pull it in with the elastics beside the zip and make it tighter so as it sits kind of blouson over your clothing. Another plus of this brand is that they do free returns, so if you order anything and the sizing isn't right or it's not what you thought it would be or you don't love it, you can return it. These trousers are the last thing that I ordered from them. The shape of these are so flattering. They have an elasticated part around the back of them, but what I really like, and I will show you this, is whenever you button them up, this little detail that comes across and buttons across the zip, I just think that adds something. They have pockets. I love pockets. They're cuffed at the bottom, but again, when I'm talking to you about design features, the cuff at the back is longer than the cuff at the front, so it sits slightly longer, and then this cut up at the front of your foot. These are so flattering. Again, I sized up in these, but these are stunning on, and I know I'm going to get a lot of wear of these. I have styled these with a heel and a plain black vest top just to let you see the detail of the trouser. I will link all of the pieces that I have got today down below in the description box so as you can check them out. I will link the website down below. I will link the discount code so as if you want to check anything out at all the information is down below for you in the description box. And now let's get into the Louis Vuitton pieces. Let's start with what is probably the most iconic iconic Louis Vuitton monogram bag, and one of the bags they're so known for, and that's the Speedy. Now, I don't have a Speedy in my collection anymore. I used to have a Speedy B. The bags I'm going to talk to you about today are the monogram versions, but I used to have a Speedy B in the Empreinte leather in a beautiful berry pink type colour, and I have to tell you that one of my biggest regrets in all of my luxury buying days has been selling that bag. I never should have sold it. I should have just kept it. But the Speedy is one of those bags that is just quintessentially iconic Louis Vuitton. I still love it. I haven't found another one that I have thought I have to have that and I'm going to buy it. I did have the Speedy B25, which is the bandolier with the crossbody strap, and I did have the Nano Speedy. I didn't love the Nano Speedy because I had the version with the strap that was not detachable and not adjustable. I thought the strap was quite flimsy. The length was maybe slightly short for me. I just didn't love it. But I wouldn't rule out another version of a Speedy if the right one comes along. And I wouldn't rule it out in either the Nano Speedy. I also really like the new Speedy 20 bandolier, which is the smaller version of the 25, also with the strap. One of the things that didn't work for me for the 25, and one of the reasons I foolishly decided to sell it, is when I wore that bag crossbody, it was a little bit bulky and it sat out a bit and it really didn't suit me and it just didn't really work, and I hadn't reached the point in my sanity levels to realise at the time that not every bag has to be crossbody. There were so many other uses for that bag that I shouldn't have let it go, so I wouldn't rule out another one. At the prices today, I still think the Speedy is worth it, and I know that if you bought a Speedy many years ago, it's going to be a really hard pill to swallow with the prices that they are now. They are now currently, the Speedy B25 is £1,310. The Speedy B20 is £1,450. That is more money than the 25, which is bigger, but it has a different strap, and many are small bags. They were putting the prices of them up. I still think they're worth it compared to the price of some other bags are reaching at the minute. The Nano Speedy is currently £1,260. I think when it was first released it was around about £750. So yes, I totally understand why people would say they're not worth it anymore because of what they used to cost and what they cost now. The reality is all designer brands are having price increases. That's just the way it is. We're not going to get these bags unless you look on the vintage or pre-loved market and you're very patient. If you want to go in and buy one of these bags new, you're not going to get them at the prices that they used to be. So whenever you're looking at the bags now and whether or not these iconic bags are worth it for you, you have to assess them against today's prices. And those prices have gone up. I'm not saying I like that. I'm not saying I think that's a good thing. I just think that's the way it is, and these are the prices that all of these houses have went to. So against the landscape of luxury priced bags now, I still think the Speedy is worth it. I would pay the bit extra and get the bandolier because for me having the option of a strap really works. Certainly whenever I had the Speedy 25, it holds quite a lot, although the zip opening, mine was just straight across. It can be a little bit tight to get in. I think this is still a really good bag to look at, and I think you're going to get a version that works for you. And as one of the classics, I still think even at this price, I think it's worth looking at. Alma BB. Also very iconically classic Louis Vuitton. Not my favourite Louis Vuitton bag, if I'm honest. And it's just personal opinion, it's just personal taste. I don't love the shape of the Alma. I don't love the shape of the Alma crossbody, and I know I've just said not every bag needs to be crossbody, but I don't love the shape of it enough handheld either to buy this bag, and it's just been one of the Louis Vuitton bags, the classics, that I probably have been least drawn to. That being said, I think it's a really good price point for today's prices to be able to get one of the classics. The Alma BB is now £1,260, and compared to prices, the pochette accessoire, which we'll come to and is tiny and is a pouch, is nearly £1,000. So I do think the Alma, if you love the shape, is a really good option to get one of these classics at still a half decent price as per Louis Vuitton prices now. Not my favourite bag, but that's just personal taste. Now let's go to the Neverfull, which is also quintessentially Louis Vuitton, and I freaking love it. I think I am one of this bag's biggest supporters. If you have a need for a large tote, they come in 3 sizes, but if you have a need for a black hole large tote that you can just throw everything into, this bag I don't think can be beaten. I absolutely love it. The GM is now £1,450. When I bought mine 13 years ago, it was €550. So I completely understand why people say, I'm not paying that price for a Neverfull compared to what it was, or that's not worth it for that because it's a big piece of canvas that's made into an empty space. And I get that. There's not a lot to it. It's a large canvas bag with thin straps. There's not much going on inside of it. It does come with a pouch, but it is a lot of money for what it is. But if you judge a lot of money for what it is against luxury prices today, I still think it's worth it. If I needed another Neverfull today, I would still buy it at this price, even though my first one was €550. So it would hurt. Of course it would hurt. But I still think for that type of bag, that function of a bag, I think it's fabulous. I think it's worth it. Worth is relative, but if you have use for that, I do think it's worth it. Compare that to the other options. They're all going up in price. For me, the Neverfull, no brainer. Another classically iconic, famous Louis Vuitton bag is the petite malle. Now, I love this bag, and I'm going to preface that by saying that, but this bag is a huge amount of money. This bag is today £4,050 in sterling. That's a huge amount of money for a very small bag. Now, I get why it's that price, do I really? Well, I understand why Louis Vuitton have priced it at that price, because it's a hard side, it's like one of their trunks, it has the gold hardware, the construction of it is made like a trunk. I get that, but it is a lot of money. I don't regret mine at all. This is one of the bags that I wish I had bought earlier. All I would say, for me, this is still worth it, although I didn't pay today's price, thankfully. If I was looking at another one, I would have to absolutely love it to buy it at this price. If I didn't have any of them and I was looking for my first, which was the classic monogram, would I buy it at this price? Yes, I probably would, because I am a very monogram Louis Vuitton lover and I always wanted to have one of these. I actually use it far more than I ever thought that I would. So yes, for me, but I will caveat that by saying you would need to take a really careful look at this. Are you going to use this bag? It is a small clutch bag, essentially. Now, I have worn my Epi pink one, which is somewhere crossbody. I've worn that a few times crossbody and I haven't had it very long. I've never worn this one crossbody. I've always taken this as a clutch handheld, but the use for them are kind of limited. This is not an everyday bag. It does not hold a lot of things. It's not something that you're going to get a huge amount of cost per wear and everyday use. So there's a lot to think about if you're thinking about this bag, if it's worth it at this price. The next one I had mentioned when we were talking about the Alma, and it's the pochette accessoire. This is now £915. I think that's crazy. That is a pouch, and I don't particularly think that's worth it. It's a pouch that, yes, you can fit your phone in and you can use as a bag if you add a crossbody strap to it. It does come with a small strap that you can carry it either under your arm if you're quite petite, or you can carry it handheld. But for me personally, at £915, I would rather put the extra money to it to get either the Speedy B25, the Alma if that's a shape that you like. Probably the Neverfull is a completely different type of bag, but there's other options that I would rather put a bit of extra money to and get rather than this, because I do think this is a lot for a pouch. An option to consider if you like this is the multi-pochette accessoire. Now, I understand this is £1,830. That's nearly double. I get that before I say this and anybody points it out to me. But the pochette accessoire is effectively this one with a little vachetta strap, and you're paying £915 for that. This, I appreciate, is nearly double, but you're getting also effectively a mini pochette. You're getting this strap, and you also get a little round card holder. So there's a lot more to this for still under a £2,000 bag, although I appreciate it's a lot more than the pochette accessoire. If you don't want to go to this price though, I do think the Alma or the Nano Speedy or one of those types of bags that aren't as much more than that this is, than that 915 price point are worth looking at. I just think that's a huge amount of money for what the pochette accessoire is. And we might as well look at this one next. 1,830. When I bought this, I think it was around about 1,400. Today's price as well, a mini pochette now is what, about 550 odd pounds. This is 915. So yes, I do think you're getting all of the pouches, you're getting the strap, you're getting the coin holder, the round coin holder. So I do think if this is a bag you're going to get the use out of, it's still just about worth it at that price. I do think though this has very much passed the height of its popularity. I don't think it's as much a trend piece anymore. That's fine for me. I didn't buy it as a trend piece, but if you're looking for something that's the height of fashion, it's probably not this anymore. I think its day in the sun, so to speak, has passed. But if you're looking for a usable utilitarian type bag, I use this a lot as a mum because it's very thin to your body, it's very light, I can fit across the pouches what I need, and I get a lot of use out of this. If you're buying it for that reason, I think just about still worth considering. If you're buying it because you want a Louis Vuitton fashion forward piece or you want to have the latest bag, probably not this one. Next is one that I don't have, and it's the Neo Noe. Now, I don't personally love this bag. I have learnt that bucket bags don't really work for me. Anytime I've tried this on, I think it's too bulky under my shoulder to carry. It's just not a bag that I personally love. But the Neo Noe is now £1,450, and I think that is still, by today's prices, a pretty okay price for what it is. It's a decent size bag. It's going to hold a lot. It has the leather pulls. It's a bag that you could use as an everyday bag, and I think if that shape of bag works for you, that's still a bag that you're going to be able to get your money's worth out of, and I think that's still a bag that is worth in inverted commas, the price point for today's prices, where you look at what you're getting for your money, and I still think that's a good option, even though for me it's not personally a bag that I would purchase. Next iconic bag is the pochette metis. Now, I used to have this and I loved it, but I really liked the satchel style of it. I am a geek at heart. I liked the school bag type look of it. It is a bag I loved. Mine cracked in the gusset on the right hand side. They have had a problem with glazing in this. They've had a problem with cracking, although I think they have reported to fix it. But if you are buying one, just keep an eye on that. But I do think it's a really good bag. Meredith, who has the best collection ever, loves this bag. It's her everyday bag. It is a fabulous everyday bag. I was able to fit a lot in it. It worked perfectly crossbody. It was very comfortable to wear. There's 3 sections to it. I couldn't fit this in. Somebody did ask me that once. This didn't fit in it, but I could fit everything I needed on a daily basis. And I think it's a really funky looking bag. Personally, I like that style of it. Again, as with the multi-pochette accessoire, if you would be buying it because you want a bag that is very height of fashion forward, I also think the pochette metis has probably passed its day of being at its height. It used to be all over social media. It was very influencer heavy. If you're buying it for those reasons, it's probably past that point. If you're buying it as a really good, usable, everyday bag that is monogram that you like the look of, I think it's still a really good purchase. It's still £1,830. It comes with a good detachable strap that is monogram for the hardware you're getting on it, the size of the bag, the space in the bag. I still think, again, by today's standards, that that's a price that is worth considering for that bag. That price wouldn't rule me out of that bag. Per today's prices, I keep saying that, but it still sounds like such a lot of money. But for what you have to pay for luxury bags now, I actually still think that's a price that's worth considering for the bag that the pochette metis is. Now, they've also brought out the East-West version, which I personally really like the look of, but I won't buy because I have the papilion bag and I have a video on that. It's more expensive. It's £2,070. I think it's very cute. I do really like it. I think if you take the strap off it, it has a gold chain. You have an evening bag. You have your daytime bag, although it's not going to fit as much. It is more expensive. It's expensive for a canvas bag. It's expensive for a different version of the traditional pochette metis. I do really like it though. If I didn't have the papilion trunk, if I'm completely honest, I think even at that price point, it's a bag that I would still be heavily considering buying, just about. I think if it was to go much, much more, for canvas bags, you're starting to think, oh, that's a lot of money. They're all a lot of money, but that's really a lot of money. But where it is now, I still think if I didn't have the trunk bag, I would be looking at it, because I do think it's a really, really pretty bag. Next is another bag that I used to have and I no longer have, and it is the Palm Springs Mini. This is the mini backpack. It's now $1,740. I still think that's worth considering at that price. That little bag holds a lot. It's a black hole. It holds a lot more than you think it's going to hold. It has so many different ways to wear it. When I had mine, I only ever wore it crossbody. I wore it on the diagonal crossbody. You can still wear it as a backpack. You can wear it handheld, which is quite cute as. It has quite a lot of uses. I like the shape of it, I like the look of it as a mini backpack, and I think at $1,740, if you like that style, yeah, I still think that's one that I would consider at today's price. Although, like with some of the other bags, I think it's past its height of popularity. I personally like that. I quite like not having it all over everywhere. But if you're wanting one that's very, very trendy at the moment, then that's probably not the bag for you. I think it's past its height, but it's still a very good option, I think, at that price point. Next is the loop bag. I have the black denim version. This also comes in monogram. It comes in a lot of the limited edition bags. It came in blue denim. It came in the garden collection. It comes in a lot of options, and this is coming in at the minute at £1,690. I still think that is probably pretty reasonable as per Louis Vuitton standards, but I think we'll see this go up. This hasn't been introduced as a style all that long, so I think that this price point is going to go up, as with a lot of other bags that we see after they're initially introduced. So if you're looking at one of these, I would probably look sooner rather than later, because I do think that's coming. There is a lot of different options from this. It actually holds quite a bit compared to what you would think it would. It can be a little bit awkward to get in and out of. It can be a little bit awkward when I was zipping it open, getting my stuff in. And if you watch my video on the things that drive me nuts about my handbags, I do not love the strap on this. So if you want more information on that bag, check out that video and I will link it above. But it is a good option for a monogram bag. This is probably more fashion forward at the minute and in the moment and at its height, this shape, rather than those other bags we were talking about. So if that's something you're aware of, this is probably a better buy, because it's definitely more up to date and it's a very heavily trend bag. Not even a trend, I would just say it's a hot bag at the moment, this particular shape. And I think at the price point for Louis Vuitton, this still isn't that bad. The side trunk. She's pretty. She's £2,730. She's expensive. She is expensive, but I think she's a very cool bag. Obviously, this is a bit more expensive as a monogram bag because there is the elements of the trunk on it. There's the elements at the edges of the hardware that elevates this bag a bit, and it will elevate it a bit both in look and also in cost because there's additional materials and costs that they're putting into it. So I think you can see where the money is, but £2,730 is still a lot of money for a canvas bag, but it's very cool. It's very in the moment. It's very hot. I see Idyl styling hers quite a bit and I think it looks really, really well. I think this is a pretty cool bag, and if you love this bag, I would go and buy it, because another one that I think the price is going to go up for. This is still quite a sought after bag. It's having its day. I think at the price point, do I think it's worth it? It's probably a wee bit like the petite malle. If it's a style that you absolutely love, even in today's prices, I think it probably is, because it's that bit quirky and edgy and there's a bit more to it compared to some of the monogram bags. But it's definitely one that's going to hit your purse. The last of the kind of iconic, well-known bags, and then I have one special mention, is the On the Go GM, and that is $2,250. I'm not a lover of this bag, and I know a lot of people are. A lot of people will take this bag any day over the Neverfull, which is I was all take the Neverfull over this bag. For me, it's too structured, it's too hard, it doesn't fit under the shoulder just as comfortably, and it's just not something that I love. But that's personal taste. There are a lot of die-hard on-the-go fans who would not understand why I would take the Neverfull over this bag. It's $2,250, more than the Neverfull. It is more structured. There is a bit more to it. Construction-wise, I still think Obviously, if you love the On the Go, you're going to go for the On the Go one at that price point, but I still think take a look at the Neverfull because it is that much more expensive, and I just think it's very structured and boxy looking. And the last bag I want to mention is the Papilion trunk. Now, this wouldn't be as well known as those other iconic bags we were talking about, but I think it's a really good option. If you're looking at this, and I have a video comparing this, reviewing this and comparing this to the petite malle. Also, if you're looking at the side trunk on some of those bags, there's a lot going on with this bag. You have this chain, you have the lock, you also get a really good crossbody thick strap, which I think gives us a bit of an edge. It is 2,080, and I wanted to throw this out there as a monogram version that is just not as popular, not seen as much, but I think is a really good bag. And if you check out the video, you'll see what this holds. It holds a lot. For me, this is the reason I don't have the Nano Speedy and the Palm Springs Mini anymore, because once this came, they became redundant. So I think this is a really good bag, and even at that price, 2,080, I still think this is worth it. I think it has that trunk look about it. It's edgy. I really, really like this, and I think it's something that's worth giving a little consideration if you're looking at any of these iconic bags. Obviously, this is not an everyday throw everything in it bag. If that's what you're looking for, this is not what this is, but I do think it's a good option to take a look at. Thank you for joining me for this run through of the classic, iconic, popular Louis Vuitton monogram bags, what I think of them, the prices of them today, and whether or not I think they're still worth that. Thank you so much for S.Deer for sending me these really funky clothes. I will link everything about them in the description box. I will link the discount code. Make sure you get your discount if you're interested in any of these pieces. I do think size up if you're looking at any of them because they do run a bit small. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have enjoyed this, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for being here. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.